Greetings gamers, welcome to part number 7 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War, and in today's episode I have successfully gotten around Genoa's defenses, and the commander, who is unnamed, is going to be rapidly defeated. The only thing I have to do right now is I need to, I believe she's affiliated with Verdane. So what I actually have to do is I need to continue to, I think I might be able to run away from her. Yeah, I think so. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to run away from Ira and move all of my units as far over as I possibly can. Alright, my dear, all of you are getting ready for the good old fight. Azel can continue moving his slow self. This guy is definitely going to reach Ideen this turn, so what I'm going to do is move like so. Ideen will get a little bit of healing experience points. It's not very much, you know. Well, I will say it's better than, you know, other games, but it's not very much right now, is what I mean particularly, because she doesn't really have the ability to heal him more than one time per turn, and he's not getting hit typically, so unfortunate little side effects there. Quan can go get ready to begin helping with the other part of the fight, because I need units over there as soon as possible. And then Besiege. Alright, so I'm doing 23 times, or 27 times 2. Or no, 17 times 2. He only has a 5 hit, which is actually kind of funny. And that is the end of my turn. I think he's going to attack Sigurd with 2 range, which really does kind of stink here, because I would prefer him... Oh, he is attacking 1 range? Why would he? He's literally got a hand axe. It really doesn't matter particularly, I suppose, because I have to seize with Sigurd anyhow. So once you seize Genoa Castle, something happens to Ira's AI and the programming in which she has, and that is that oh, he actually got hit. Nice. I get to heal again. She will change what she's doing from attacking you and trying to destroy all your units, which, by the way, she absolutely can do. She can even kill somebody like Sigurd, as good as Sigurd is, and the reason being is because of Astra. Yeah, so she's going to continue moving this way. I'm going to seize here.
Sire, we found this young boy in the dungeon.
What's the matter? Why are you silent? I want to know why you were held here.
You're not one of Kimbath's lot, are you?
We've dealt with Kimbath. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore.
Oh, so Ira doesn't have to keep fighting. My auntie Ira was forced to fight because Kimbath had me. Please, you've got to go help her.
That swordswoman? Huh. I thought there was something amiss about her. Very well. I'll let her know that you're safe. Now, what's your name?
Shannon. I'm Shannon, the Prince of Isaac.
Isaac's prince, you say? I can barely begin to imagine what you've been through, Shannon. For now, though, you're welcome to stay with our army. Don't worry. One day you'll make it home. I'll do all I can to ensure that.
Pardon me, sire, but we're currently at war with Isaac. If we're going to harbor its prince, shouldn't we inform the king?
He's a child, Oifi. That war has nothing to do with him. That is very true. I'll find a way to get him home safely, but for now, we need to look after him.
Understood, sire. Just as I thought. Lord Sigurd really is such a kind man.
Genoa seized. So Ira is the aunt of Shannon, who is, hopefully I can get out of her way, who happens to be the prince of the country that Granvale is warring against. So it would actually be very inappropriate to tell the king that these things are occurring, and that might sound kind of weird, especially coming from somebody who sees loyalty as a very good thing in pretty much all scenarios. But Ethlyn could have healed Lex. Why did I do that? But the reason why that is because all that Granvale would do with that information is say, hey, Sigurd, we want him. And the reason why is pretty plainly obvious, right? Going to use him as a bit of a tool. Basically to say, hey, stop the war, or we're going to finish you off, kind of thing. And that's not exactly great. The moment that a child is used in such a manner is just kind of like pathetic. So in that case, it's actually very subtle and very interesting how Sigurd deals with this, because in truth, it's the best way to go about it. But really, Sigurd's own story is that all he's trying to do is be kind here, because, you know, he's just a child. And that makes complete and total sense also. Marfa phase. Everybody's going to keep on strike and do. Ooh, somebody actually hit? Oh, please don't tell me somebody else is going to hit him again. Okay, perfect. Nice avoid. It is only a 19% chance, so we're talking 1 out of 5. Which, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who just don't like the 1 RN system of the Jug Droll games and prior. And I don't understand. I really don't. I really do not understand, and cannot possibly fathom understanding why that is.
Genoa has fallen to Granvale? No. I must go get to Shannon.
Does Granville really think he can just waltz into Verdane with such a tiny force? How adorable. Men, here's our chance. Evans is right for the plucking. Then it's straight for the Granvale border.
Is that? No, that's the Herrhind Ari. Lord Eldigan won't like this.
Alright, the Herrheim army, led by Elliot. So this is one of the flaws of genealogy, though I also think it's a good thing. A lot of people will be like, genealogy has very long, basically scripted enemy phases alongside of green unit phases, I guess you could say, partner and ally phases. Now, the interesting thing about that is, I actually think I have to talk to her with Sigurd, which is unfortunate. Does he need... Yeah, we might as well repair his sword. This is another reason why the Canto units are better. Though, anybody can move on to the castle, use it, and then move out of the castle, any one of the field castles particularly. I already completed the arena, so that's not pertinent. I'm going to go ahead and talk. I'll get to that point in a moment. Hold, Lady Ira. Prince Shannon is safe with us. You needn't keep fighting.
What? You saved Shannon? Do you speak the truth?
I do. Prince Shannon told me everything. That you're the daughter of the late Isaachian king. Listen, you detest Granvalians. You've made your hostility perfectly clear. But you can't neglect your duty to the prince. You can't afford to waste your life now. Not on a battle as senseless as this.
My brother, the Crown Prince, entrusted Shannon to my care, knowing that his death was inevitable. You're right. After all this time, I refuse to die for Verdane's sake. Until I've seen Shannon rise to the Isaachian throne, my life is not mine to forfeit to such dogs.
I will aid you all I can. If you lower your sword, on my honor as the heir of Baldur the Crusader, I swear I will not betray you.
Very well, I'll place my trust in you, as well. Such is the way of the warriors of Isaac. For now, I pledge my blade. in your service. However, this does not change that Granvale is my foe. Beware, for if one day that includes you, I will not hesitate.
War can be very cruel. Ira, Isaachian warrior, I pray that day never comes. Perfect, I got a new unit. Before I do happen to talk about her, though, I want to continue that thought. So, let's go back to, I think Nordion is the closest. Elliot and his crew is basically, this is basically a scripted event here. These guys are no threat to getting to Evans. They're actually just no threat. And the reason why is because of something that happens in this turn particularly, and they get overtaken and destroyed. I'm only putting these units here to get a little bit of experience points from them. I used to do this with Azel, because if Azel's in the forest and he dodges enough, he can get a lot, at least like a level or two worth of experience points. But then I realized something. If I do that, Azel misses out on stuff like the skill ring, or if I'm going to give it to him. I actually think I'm going to give the skill ring to... No, I think I'm going to give the skill ring to Azel. And then over here, the final castle, Verdane, has an enemy with a specific ring that I really, really want Azel to have, regardless of whether or not I give him the skill ring. And that is not something you can obviously do if you have Azel on the other side of the map, and there's just no reliable or reasonable way to get him there in a speedy manner. There are ways, especially later on in this chapter, there are ways that you obtain, but it's still just for the best, in my humble opinion, to use that experience with other folks. So my point is that I'm trying to bring up here is that since it's a scripted enemy phase, the issue with that is that you have basically a lot of wasted time, and a lot of people don't like this. I can see why people don't like this, but we're talking about, and you have to be very careful when you understand this, we're talking about a game from the Super Nintendo era, right? This is Super Famicom stuff that has very limited hardware, very limited space. Cutscenes are not really that well doable in these kinds of games, especially games as complex and big as Genealogy is, because this game is both complex and big. It is quite. Just like Thracia, very complex games. I frankly don't even understand how they work on this console and how they have everything in such a way. But in order for Kaga to show forth like these warring factions, these giant armies, and these cutscenes, basically, he had to do it in-game. I actually really love that. So the downside is what people complain about, which is that it does take up and consume a lot of time, and you can't skip it. If you could skip it, there would be literally no problem. But you can't skip it. Now, I think there's a lot of upside to it, because I would rather see the story unfold than hear about the story unfolding. I remember playing Three Houses when Three Houses came out, and I was actually very enthralled in the game. I still like the game to a certain degree, but it's probably the best of the New Age Fire Emblems, but it's not something that you're going to really see me play again, because the fact of the matter is it's just too long, too convoluted, the story is bad, full of plot holes. The bad guys have very, very, very poor, and I mean very poor reasons for being bad guys. And most of the story is exposed to you, you know, like literally just exposed to you in a form of conversation. Like a lot of times you'll see like your characters surround you in a circle and they're all just talking about something and bring up something specifically, and you'll see a picture or an image of that. That's pathetic. We're talking about something from the Switch era where there's beautiful games like Octopath Traveler and so on and so forth that are like that. You turn-based RPGs that have beautiful cutscenes, and then you just see like Three Houses and you're like, A lot of things turned me off of that game, including the politics behind it. And, like, for instance, many of the S ranks that you can obtain with your Byleth avatar insert character are heinous, in my humble opinion. And I just think Fire Emblem is going the wrong way. And I like to appreciate, I like to go back and appreciate what used to be and what could be better. Because the fact of the matter is we're talking about a game from 1996, 1998, somewhere around that realm. I can't remember exactly what year it was made, but we're talking about a game that is almost 30 years old, right? Almost 30 years old. And it's better in complexity, but also in simplicity than any game that's been made in the past 10 years. And that's kind of disgusting, in my humble opinion.
What's this? Herheim's army is marching on Evans. Ugh, I should have known Elliot just couldn't keep his nose out of this. Take care of the castle, Racketsus. Sigurd is in dire need of my help.
Of course, brother. Please do all you can to help Sir Sigurd.
Right. Cross Knights, move out. Our foe is the Herheim army. I don't expect a challenge, but stay alert nonetheless.
I'm almost certain that I'm mispronouncing her name, and that it's not Racketsus, it's Racketsus. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna mispronounce some of these names at times just because I have a way that I immediately read it, but I have a way I know that it's supposed to be pronounced. Because her name is like a take on Raquel, so it would be Racketsus, not Racketsus, because it's not Raquel. It's Raquel.
Elliot, ambushing them like a common thief, are you? A cowardly act. Ill-befitting the honor of a knight. Withdraw immediately, or I will take action. We both know you're no match for me.
What's this, Eldigan? I should have known you would have sided with Granvale.
In doing this, you are crossing not just Granvale, nor me, but your very liege. We bow to the reverend King Imka, who desires only peace with Granvale. Would you truly cross his majesty?
You fool! Only you would still seriously heed that senile old fool's word. The lords of Augustria are united against both Granvale and any peace with them.
Wrong, for I will not stand with you. Augustria cannot afford the crippling tolls of war, and nor can Granvale. Our past stands as a testament to this. Learn well, Elliot. We, the nobility, know not the suffering brought by war. War cripples only the powerless, our subjects. I will not abide your lust for glory at the expense of our people.
A pretty little speech, but that won't save you now. I knew all along you and I were always fated to clash, Eldigan. Today we settle this once and for all. Men, the enemy is now House Nordian. I want Eldigan's head on a platter.
So the way that this game takes the whole Crusader thing, there's 12 Crusaders, there's 12 Holy Bloods. There's technically a 13th, but it's an unholy blood. That doesn't need to be even mentioned in this conversation, but I just thought I'd throw it out there, I guess. There's 12 Crusaders, and each and every country on the continent, except for Miletus, has a Crusader tied to it, at least one. Like, for instance, Thracia has 2, both the Lance Wielders. And then you have Granvale, I believe, has 6 or 7. I think it might be 7. Yeah, I think it's 7, actually. And then there's 1 in Celeste. There's 1 in Augustria. And technically, there's supposed to... there's not 1 for Verdane, right? Ljungby is the house that's closest to Verdane, but it is still a part of Granvale. And sometimes I seriously sit back and think that Ljungby was meant to be like a Granvale, or not a Granvale, a Verdanite house. So technically, Verdane also doesn't have a Holy Blood user, which is unfortunate because you'd think that everybody would have at least 1. And so that means that Granvale has 8, actually, which is a lot. You know, that's... Oh, no. Isaac has 1. Granvale does have 7. Isaac has 1. Celeste has 1. Augustria has 1. Nordian, House Nordian, happens to be the holder of that. And Eldigan is the holder of Misselton, which is the Holy Blood weapon of Augustria. Eldigan could take on whole swaths of armies by himself in this game, especially at this point. Elliot stands no chance. Not only does Elliot stand no chance, but even if Eldigan was not to use the holy weapon of his namesake, he would still crush Elliot. Elliot has pretty much only HP to his name. When you fight him, he is basically a blob of HP. It is not hard to KO him. Pretty much any one of your units can find a way. Any one of your good combatively units can find a way to damage and KO him. And what's very interesting here is that, like, Eldigan's forces are strong enough on their own to defeat Elliot without needing Eldigan's assistance. Very unfortunate, though, that Sigurd was put this far out of the realm. I think these guys all have lances. So Noish is unfortunately damaged, and that's really not great. I'm gonna have to move him. I think what I'll do here, I'm doing just enough damage. Oh no, I wasn't. I was one off. Unfortunate. This could be a restart. I'm just throwing it out there, unfortunately. Azel, go ahead and move. Alec, go ahead and move. Ethlyn needs to heal someone. Finn and Quan both need healing. I think I'm going to heal Quan first, just because Finn doesn't mind being on lower health due to miracle strats. So there's that. I'm actually going to be talking about Ira this turn as well. So let's see what I can do here. Perfect. I think I'm going to KO here with Midir. It's going to take 2 hits, but that's going to be fine. Yeah, so the point that I'm bringing up is basically that, you know, he's picking a fight with a guy he couldn't possibly beat, even on a bad day. It's actually kind of funny. I'm saying this, and then all of a sudden he starts, like, taking significant amounts of damage, which I thought was kind of funny. Iron Lance. Quan is not KOing here, but that's fine. I actually kind of want Lex to get the KO. With a good old steel axe. I will tell you, Lex has a secret event in this particular chapter, and you absolutely want him to have more than one axe on him. If he does not have more than one axe on him, he cannot perform the secret event. This is something that is not alerted to the player at all. The secret event is just not something that you're told of. And let alone, I can't find any resource that talks about the particular event that I'm speaking of. Alright, I'm going to just wait with you here. That says you need to have another axe in your inventory, and I promise you, you do. There's been plenty of times where I've forgotten this. I've only had a single axe, usually the steel axe, and I've gone over there and tried the secret event, and it does nothing. And I've had to basically restart my chapter. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about Ira, the unit of this particular chapter that I have recruited so far. She is a Myrmidon, and a very interesting character. A lot of people like to overhype her and make her seem like she's this fantastic unit. I'm going to tell you something. Combatively, the Myrmidons and Swordsmasters and sword units of that nature that are footlocked are very good in this game at single rounds of combat in the arena, or like if you're fighting just one guy. They're very good at, like, boss killing, what they basically do in pretty much any other entry of the franchise. But there is a problem with units like Ira, and the problem is that she is reliant on procs occurring of her personal skills and stuff of that nature when she's promoted, especially. And she is also at this point, even with the Silver Sword, by the way. A lot of people like to say that she's better than Sigurd, this, that, and the other. Even with the Silver Sword, she is doing less damage than Sigurd. because Sigurd at base has, I think, 3 or 4 more points of, I think it's 3 points of strength above her at base. So she might have more speed, but that's almost negligible in the consensus of these things because she does not have good movement. This is just a problem with everybody who's not on a mount in this game. Now, I'm not one of those who just naysays people who play characters who are not on mounts. You can play this game however you please. And I'm also not one of those people who says that the people who are not mounted are useless. In fact, most of the times I still train them because there's a lot of things they can do. Like, for instance, I can throw all of my mounted units as rapidly to a point that I need to, while I can have my unmounted units doing the side objectives. Stuff like protecting the villages, protecting the home castle, defending my rear, this, that, and the other. There's all different kinds of things that can be done with your non-mounted units. And if you take this into account, what you see is that there is a good homogeny of different things that your units can do in supporting your cast. It's just unfortunate that if you think that a unit like Ira or any unmounted unit in this game is objectively as good as somebody who is on a horse, you're wrong. Unfortunately, you're just flat wrong. This is objective fact. Even somebody like Midir, who off the bat is way weaker than this character, has way less strength, way less speed, just way less combative uses than Ira. Midir is still better than her. And the reason why is because he has a mount. He can canto. He can change his weapons whilst cantoing. He can get away from the combat. So it doesn't even matter that he's locked to bows. And by the way, the 2 bows that he happens to be locked to are 2 of the best weapons in this game, aside from some of the better swords, I will say. Granted, Ira is very important. She is absolutely necessary to be recruited because she gives you the best sword in the game. And the best sword in the game happens to be the best weapon in the game. So you need her to be recruited. And then you need to talk to her with either Lex or Azel, I think it is. It's one of the 2. Lex and somebody. Either way, she comes with 32 base HP and a 70% HP growth, 11 base strength, a 30% strength growth, 0 base magic, a 5% magic growth, 16 base skill, 60% magic skill growth, 17 speed, 30% speed growth, 3 luck, 20% luck growth, 7 defense, 20% defense growth, 1 resistance, interesting, and a 5% resistance growth. She also has minor Odo Holy Blood, which is the Holy Blood of the Isaachian Royal Throne. And as you can see, that's pretty interesting. So like Hazul is the Holy Blood of Augustria, Odo is Isaac, Forseti is Celeste, and then all of the rest except for Nobo and Dayan are Grand Valian. Nobo and Dayan are Thracian. She has a talk with Quan. This doesn't yield anything important. She has 6 movement, 3,000 funds, 1 arena level. Condition is healthy. That's very good. And A rank in swords is great. This does mean that she can use pretty much every sword in the game that's useful to her. She can't use like the Isaachian Royal Blood weapon. Only 1 character in this game is capable of doing that in either generation, and he doesn't exist in the first generation, at least as a playable character. She comes with Pursuit, allows the user to double attack if attack speed exceeds foes. Nihil, user is immune to critical hits, skills, and crippling hits, and this is sword skills. So do be mindful of that. That's not every skill. Stuff like Pursuit will still activate. Stuff like Miracle will still activate. Stuff like Adept will still activate. I think a cost as well. It's only sword skills. Astra may strike foe 5 successive times. This is the best version of Astra in the series, and the only other game where it's equally as good, if you would say, is Thracia. The problem is that Thracia only has 2 units that possess Astra, whereas in this game you can have several units, more than that possess Astra. So there is that. I'm actually going to go to the arena with her, and I'm going to start my fight. Yep, we're going to fight Gazak. So this will be a second bit of arena. It's funny because she's lacking some health right now, but after each and every successful arena fight, you are healed up, which is very nice. Nice fight, mate. Here's your reward, 1,000 gold pieces. Feel like fighting another round? Of course I do. Round 2. I don't think she's going to be able to defeat... Maybe not the Wind Mage. I think she might be able to defeat everybody else, especially if she gets any procs. If she gets a proc on the Wind Mage, she's going to just win. He's going to strike her first, unfortunately, though, because Iron Blades actually weigh quite a bit. They also don't have very good accuracy. It's one of those things where it's like you definitely want to get rid of this weapon as soon as you possibly can off of her. In fact, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to back out of the arena real quick. I think she has the option to buy another weapon. Yeah, an iron sword. So this is way better. The reason why is because though the blades have very good might, only 60 hit. They also have 3 extra weight. So the iron sword is actually better for her in certain fights, especially in fights where she's going to be fighting against people who could potentially double her. Turburin is one of these, that the iron sword is just a better overall weapon to use. Let alone the fact that, I mean, it's 20% extra accuracy. It would have been very helpful for the Wiseman fight, especially if she lost it, but luckily she did not. Now, in fights like Duelist, where she's going to fight the General, it's better, in my humble opinion, to go ahead and use something like, see, like right here, I'm going to be using the Iron Blade because I'm going to totally outspeed him. And not only outspeed him, she's going to double, and she procced Astra, which is fantastic. Wow, actually got hit. 1 out of 5 chance. I think I'm going to go ahead and equip the Iron Sword here and fight. Yeah. As long as she hits enough. Yeah, okay. She just won purely based on Astra alone, because her hit was so abysmal that it's not unlikely for him to have hit her again had he been allowed to attack her a second time. And she needed 3 hits to KO him. So Astra was required in that fight. The Iron Blade is going to be required in this fight because he's going to do a lot of damage to her, but also she's not going to do that much damage to him. She's only doing 5. Alright, so she procced it again. There is a good chance that he just, yeah, he didn't hit her. Very nice, very nice. So Ira beat Duelist. Almost got another level up. I think I'm going to go ahead and repair these for the time being because she's going to potentially need those in the field. And I'm going to end my turn. And now it is Marfa's phase. Alright, Lex is doing some good work. A few of these guys are going to go ahead and attack Do still, but some of them are going to go for my 3 units right there. And I kind of would prefer them to go for some of the units. I put Finn in such a way that he can't be attacked by more than 1, I believe. I don't think the other one can reach from behind, and it was because I didn't know how much damage they were doing. I didn't decide to look at it. You could test it out. I just decided to go with this safe, easy, quick strat because the miracle is not necessary here. I could have used a miracle strat here, but 2 units were still going to end up attacking too, so it wouldn't have, by and large, mattered anyhow. Very nice. Quan adepted. And a level up for him. 2 HP, 1 magic, 1 defense. Very nice. Only thing I will say that I don't like about the overworld animations being turned off, or I should say animations being turned off in its entirety, is that when you get a level up, the overworld just shows like a couple of numbers, like the stats going up. And that's quaint, but it's not, in my humble opinion, as good as if it was demonstrating all of it on a screen like you would normally get in a normal Fire Emblem, or even in just Thracia. This is one of those quality of life improvements I'm very glad was fixed. Because Sigurd is actually a bit behind, I don't know if I'm going to reach that village that is being burnt down in the bottom left-hand corner. I really hope I am able to. I'm going to try my best at the very least. I typically don't bother with the castle. I just throw Sigurd out as fast as possible, and I let him take out as many units as possible, let the rest of my team clean up the scraps, and then I focus Sigurd on that village, because the problem is nobody else can reach it faster than him. And nobody else can do significant enough damage as well as not taking enough damage back. Like Quan would probably be a decent candidate, but he's not going to be great.
Oh, man, retreat. Mark my words, Eldican, this isn't over.
So there is that. I'm very well looking forward to continuing on my turns and beating up on all these enemies. So this Herheim decided to attack Neusch, which is fine. As long as he was only attacked by one this turn, that's pretty fantastic. And it just so happened to be exactly how that worked out. So, unfortunately, this is the time of the episode where I have to bid you a farewell. And thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on the platform you are on. And leave a comment down below. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.